We're so fortunate to have such great legends here today. I'll introduce them to you in a wee minute, but I really cannot resist mentioning one fella in particular, Seamus McCormick, my little Ted legend. Lovely to see you. Director of Amateur Boxing, now professional boxing in Newry, and he's still going strong. It's lovely to see you, Seamus. Still morning. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and many welcomes here tonight. Thank you so much indeed for coming out in such great numbers. The 12th of July is a good day for fighting. We're going to feature the homecoming stroke, the Battle of the Boyne in the Fairways Hotel in Dundalk. This is very generously promoted by the Cullen Promotions. We have an incredible lineup for a small hall show. I've never seen the likes of it in my life. By the way, before we carry on, I'd like to welcome a lovely guy, one of the greatest, most scientific boxers ever seen, Paul Duty McCluskey. Paul McCluskey. We have with us today, some of the boxers couldn't make it because Hugh Fury, for example, is boxing on Saturday night, and he sent Mickey Woods, the matchmaker, a sincere apology that he just could not take the chance coming across today. But he will be there for the Battle of the Boyne. We have with us the wee Aussie himself, 4 years in Australia. Wonderful, wonderful career in the making for him. Already he's Australian and Asian champion. The headliner, Paddy Murphy. Paddy Murphy. The chief supporting contest we have from Dooley Country, as I call it, Dungiven, Eamonn, King O'Kane. And he's boxing one of the fittest and most progressive boxers in Ireland, certainly today, and it is going to be one hell of a scrap. Anthony Fitzgerald from Dublin. And at the end here, there's a wee fella. He doesn't look much. He's very light on it, but he's also very fit. And I'll tell you something. I promise you, he's going to be world champion inside 5 years in his division. From Belfast, Jamie Conlan. That's all the boys who have the show today. But it's lovely, lovely to see them here. I'd like to hand you over to the promoter in chief. Where? Who? You want me to call him twice? Okay. Young Stevie Collins there at the end. Once again, give him a big round of applause. Stevie Collins, the son of a living legend. I mean that. Great Steve Collins. Okay, right away I'm going to hand you over to the promoter-in-chief here, young Eamonn Murphy from Cullen Promotions. Give him a big round of applause, folks. Is that all right?
It's still good morning, it is, I think, yes. I haven't a big lot to say. Most of you know me, I'm Eamonn Murphy. I'm representing Cullen Promotions here this morning, and this homecoming of Paddy Murphy scheduled for the 12th of July in Dundalk. And I'd just like to thank you all for coming, and especially the boxers who've travelled different parts of Ireland to get here this morning, and the press who's come along and stayed about and made about probably a busy schedule today. But I haven't a big lot to say. Just I'm glad to see Patrick home. He's a local lad. He's my own son, you know, and to fight in a show in the block against Michael Kelly, and you know, we've been working on this while. So we have you know, behind the scenes myself and Seamus McCormick, and I must thank Mickey Hughes. I must thank Mickey for that. He's good. You know, and there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes in boxing, you know, a lot of people don't see. And a lot of these wee shows, as I say, these wee home shows and stuff like that, you know, and between coaches and boxing, as I said, it's time to get organised. And you know, we hope this is a good show. It is a good build, and I know it's going to be a good show. And I hope it's the first of many to get boxing back in this area to a professional level. That's our intentions anyway, to put boxing back in the border towns, you know, and this homecoming to say is a good start for it. And I think Patrick's fight, his opponent is off. I won't only get that word last night from Mickey. You know, when these things happen in boxing, you know, you have to come over these hurdles as you go along. But been a good matchmaker. Mickey had discussed with me when we were making this show to always have a backup in the line. You know, and I have to say he worked hard on that. You know, he kept a backup. You know, and maybe that's what they call him. But I'm not saying much more than that because, as I say, I didn't the match. But I think Harry's going to maybe tell us why the fight is called off, and maybe who we're fighting next. And that's all I have to say. And thank you for coming.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, last Saturday morning, or early Saturday afternoon, I was talking to Mickey Kelly, along with joint promoter Mickey Hughes and Owen, and he says 1000% I'll be there. Again, I don't want to go into details, don't want anything carried back that's not right. Even a boxing coach, he should be highly respected, and in his own way, the coach of Mickey is probably thinking that he's looking after the betterment of his boxer, the safeguard of his boxer. But Mickey said that he was definitely on, no matter what anybody said, at the agreed fee that was agreed on over a month ago. And it's a load of crap that was in the Facebook and papers about certain fees being paid to Mickey Kelly. He was being very, very well paid for the fight. We wanted this because these are two boys. Kelly has been calling Murphy out. Could you switch that off for a wee second, please? Michael, as far as I'm concerned, he's a proper gentleman, and in my eyes he always will be. But I think he's being advised wrongly. That's all I can say about it. Now, we had a hint 2 or 3 weeks ago that this might happen. So Mickey Hughes put in place a substitute, just in case. And it's even a harder scrap for young Murphy, in my eyes. Okay, can I mention who it is? So Philip fought last Saturday night, and he won very well over, you saw it on television, a young fella called Peter McDonough. And we're going to great expense, seriously, to get him over here, paying him a big fee, so as not to let down this show. No matter what happens, this is one show that is not going to be cancelled under any circumstances. There's too much at stake. Even if we come out, even owing a few quid, or euros, I beg your pardon, we are going to run this show. Now take, for example, the chief supporting contest. My goodness, where are you going to get 10 rounds of boxing in Prospect? As two of the hardest punching, great fighters, young fighters, still learning the trade. They're the first admitted in Anthony Fitzgerald and Eamonn Kane. I think that's going to be a fight to remember. Now, I'm going to hand you over to, I'm still intrigued by this refusal of Mickey Kelly. I just can't understand it. Now, I've just heard actually from Mickey Hughes that very generously they are giving Mickey Kelly another 24 hours before they scrap the Kelly deal and run with Peter McDonough. And I think that's very, very generous of Mickey Hughes and Owen Murphy. I'm very curious to hear what Paddy Murphy has to say about this and how he feels. Is it disrupting his training? He may have to change opponents, etc., etc. He's travelled, a few days ago he travelled all the way, some 13,000 miles from Brisbane, I think. Yeah. So it's a wee, is that right? Brisbane, yeah. It's a wee place in Australia. And he's here today, and he's very, very up for this show on the 12th of July, the Battle of the Boyne. Ladies and gentlemen, the Australian and Asian champion at welterweight, give it up for Paddy Murphy.
Thank Thanks very much. Firstly, I'd like to thank everybody for coming today, and to Cuchulainn Promotions for obviously putting on the show and giving me the opportunity to fight in front of all my family and friends. It's something that I've wanted to do since I turned pro 2 years ago, and as I say, I'm delighted to get the opportunity. It's great to be home. It's great to be back in Newry, and yeah, like I'm disappointed. Mickey Kelly, we left the chair sitting there for him. I thought he still made a show. He called me out. I just read an interview on Facebook last night how he wanted back into the winner's circle, and to be honest, he wasn't going to get back into the winner's circle fighting me. But 24 hours, I think I've travelled the whole way home from Australia, and Michael Kelly can't travel down to Newry. I think it was going to be a great fight. He's talked about how he's training hard, and he reckoned he was going to beat me. And if that's the case, I was fighting Michael Kelly in his hometown of Dundalk. It might be my homecoming, but I was getting into his backyard, and I'm putting an offer out to Michael Kelly. Like we said, he's 24 hours to come back down and fight me, put his money where his mouth is, and I think it would make for a great show. I wasn't actually going to be coming back until the end of this month, and I was talking to my father Owen, and he encouraged me to come home a bit earlier, and I'm really glad I did. It's been great getting back into the club with Seamus McCormick, and back to basics. I've been training every day with young Connor Wallace, who goes to Germany with the Irish under-18 team now next week, and it's just great to see all my family and friends, and to be fighting on this show, and especially topping the bill, having such great boys on the undercard. But I'd like to ask the people of Newry and Mourne and the people of South Armagh to come out and support small shows like this. Boxing has gone stale at the minute, and we need these shows to be successful, and the only way we can get these shows to be successful is to get people through the door, get bums on seats. Like, it's a great show, there's great fights on the night, and we just hope that we get a good crowd there, and we can continue and maybe run another one at the end of this year, at the start of next year, and maybe many more in the future. And just back to the Michael Kelly case, like I'm going to fight Peter McDonough, who Michael Kelly himself wouldn't fight. Peter McDonough's a harder fight, and I'm going to fight him in Dundalk to prove to Michael Kelly what good a boxer I am, and I'm going to put on a show in front of his people. So again, I just want to say to Michael Kelly, if you see this or you hear word of this, please get in touch with Michael. I think we should get it on. Thanks very much.
And I think really, even if Mickey does turn it down in the next 24 hours still, that's a fight that we should be putting on again in October, maybe with under new trainership or something. I've no idea what happened. It seems so bloody strange. He was getting very, very well paid. Be a good show for later on in the year, because now there is real, I don't know what to say, enmity between the two. Paddy Murphy's very hurt, and believe it or not, Michael Kelly's hurt in a certain way as well, because his trainer just wouldn't let him, didn't agree with terms or whatever. The contract is sitting on the table for Mickey Kelly to sign. If it came today, it's going to be extended for another 24 hours. Now you can't be any more patient than that. We have a show, and the undercard in that show is sublime. It's definitely one of the best shows, possibly in the last 5-6 years, to be run in the category of small hall boxing. The chief supporting contest, I'd like to hand you over to Paddy Murphy. He's going to introduce the chief support contest here.
I'm privileged to have to be top or headline on the show with such a great supporting bout, and I know it's going to be a cracker to
fight back. You know, if there's any quality, punching or quality of the boxing at all came from me, and yes, it was wild and crazy because it was prize fighter, but I clearly thought I won the fight well. But I will answer them questions on the 12th of July, the wonderful 12th of July, and I intend to show the improvements that I've made with the new coach, Bernardo Checa, who's doing a fantastic job with me and myself, Paul McCluskey. And looking forward to getting that Irish title around my waist and get the first belt around my waist and moving onwards and upwards from there. Thanks again for everybody. Thanks for making this.
Well done, Kane. That was a promise. So this junction, actually, I'd like to welcome a fella. It's an absolute honour to have him. He's done more for professional boxing over this past 20, 30 years than possibly any other trainer or even promoter in Ireland. Mr. John Breen. John Breen over there. Give him a big round of applause. Beside one of his colleagues there, the hardest man ever in boxing, the great Fra McCullough. Fra McCullough is here. He's the chairman of the Boxing Union of Ireland currently. So, we head on here. There's a young fella from Belfast, and I have admired him for many years. His brother got silver at the Olympic Games. He got silver at the European Games. That's young Michael Conlan. But we have with us today, definitely, the future champion of the world from Belfast, Jamie Conlan.
Thanks. It's a privilege to be here on a great show. This is what Irish boxing needs, these small road shows, keep us going. Kane and Fitzgerald, it'll be a cracking fit. As a boxing fan, I'm excited to watch it. And, I was on a few amateur belts with Paddy myself. It's good to see him back. Glad he doesn't have that Aussie accent because I can't stand it. It's also good to be fighting on the 12th of July and getting paid for it. So thanks very much.
Very good. With Jimmy's talent, he's very, very hard to get matched because we're starting to get throughout Europe that he is a potential world champion. But we promise he will be on the show and he will be boxing. I'd like to introduce you to a wee fella here. He comes from a wonderful family of amateur and professional boxing. His father beat all odds. I think it was my first thing as MC in an undercard for Barry Hearn way back in 1994, I think it was. He was pitted in against the then invincible Chris Eubank. But he came out, and he came out well. His name was Steve Collins. Ladies and gentlemen, his son is here, and he's taken up the sport of professional boxing, and he's doing very well in his debutant fashion. He's coming in at cruiserweight, and it's hard to believe because I had him a wee dig in the stomach there today, I usually do that to see if they're fit, and he never budged. I heard he's a real bull at training, just like a daddy. And to be successful in professional boxing in particular, whenever the chance arises, you become a bully. That is the most successful way. And his father was brilliant at that. And I hope the son's the same. Ladies and gentlemen, Stevie Collins Jr.
How you doing? I'd just like to say thanks lads for inviting me down, and I'm really looking forward to the show on the 12th of July. I hope it goes great. I hope it's very entertaining for everyone, and hope I exceed everyone's expectations. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll not hold you back. That's about it. We'll finish off now. The 12th of July, the Fairways Hotel, we're depending on you. We're out an awful lot of money on this particular show. If we get a packed house, we'll be breaking even, just about. But this is going to be well worth it. It's a forerunner to what can happen. Now, there's a fella there sitting, Larry O'Kane, Eamonn O'Kane's daddy. They flew in especially from Spain, to be here today. Larry O'Kane, give him a big round of applause. And this is a very, very important show. Even Cormac Campbell's even here today. You know, it's hard to believe. Wonderful, such legends. But I think we'll end up with a wee word from the top of the bill, Paddy Murphy.
Again, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming out today, and everybody that's shown support for the show, and Again, I ask the people of Newry and Mourne, South Armagh, and of course the people of Ireland to support not only this show but other small hall shows around the country. But hopefully we can pick boxing back up, and I want to fight as many times in Ireland as I can. And just, yeah, again, thanks everybody for coming, and I hope to see you all on the 12th of July. Thank you.
Well done. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Interviews can take place. I know the photographs have already been taken. We started off a wee bit late, and some of the photographers